My Thursday thoughts today are about time. You might see from the look of me that I have an infection. And time, when you're not very well and you fall asleep and you wake up, becomes a whole different entity, not an entity, becomes a whole different ball game, not a ball game. It just behaves differently, doesn't it? There's no way to describe it really. So that's what I want to talk about today. Giving yourself time. So when somebody says they're holding space for you, what they're really doing is giving you time. And there's a lot of people at the moment who are struggling with what can be termed evil happening in the world. And it's important to give yourself time and space. It's important to place your energy towards and focus towards that which you want to bring forth in your life, and not full of fear and anxiety. Because where we put our focus is what manifests. Napoleon Hill spoke about this. Jesus spoke about healing. So I went to a spiritualist group a couple of weeks ago, and I was sitting next to a woman, and I had this urge to put my arm around her, where her back of her throat chakra and her crown chakra and her heart. I was aware that she wasn't really breathing past her throat because she was grieving. And when we grieve, we don't breathe. So the first thing is to give yourself time to breathe. And what happens when we're anxious, when we're stressed, when we're in pain, our focus goes towards that instead of the ability to heal. Now, I didn't put my arm around this woman because that would kind of be weird, sitting next to someone and just suddenly going, oh, hello. But I did speak to her afterwards about it. And she said to me, are you a healer? And I said, well, yeah, I kind of do spiritual healing. Well, I do spiritual healing. And she said, have you got a card? And I thought, oh, you've missed a trick there, Lily. But the reason I hesitated to say I am a healer is because no one is a healer. Healing is holding space for the energy to be well and whole. And if people need to grieve, then that's fine. That is part of that process. That is part of the becoming whole. Becoming whole doesn't mean that you're just running around and everything is happy and good and wonderful. It means that you are acknowledging. Now, illness happens and disease happens when pain and anger gets caught in our body. So when you're holding space to heal someone, whether that's through somatic breath work or whether that's through Reiki healing or another spiritual practice. I was trained in the UK with the National Federation of Spiritual Healers 30 years ago. They've been rebranded and I've forgotten what they've named themselves now. Apologies, same great work going on. And that's what I want to talk about. If you need space because you're feeling stressed about everything that's going on in the world, it's feeling pretty dystopian, it's feeling pretty catastrophic. Oh, net zero, global warming, And last night I caught a clip. I try and keep up with things, but I really don't give those things much attention, because I know that where we give our attention is where we give our energy, and energy manifests. But I watched a committee taking witness statements from Gaza, and Dr. Nazim was giving his witness statement that when bombs drop and the children as young as 3 fall to the ground in fear and terror and try and hide, the IDF zones sent by Israel, funded and supported by the Prime Minister of the UK, well, not funded by him, it's our taxpayer money actually that supports all of this, and that is something I think we all feel angry about. Those drones go in and shoot those children. The drones go in and shoot those children, and the children end up in hospital with square bullets in them, lots of damage. Can you imagine how terrified they are? And they hear drones constantly and bombs constantly. I guess it's a bit like a fox being hounded. We can feel that, we can acknowledge that, but we can let it pass through us because we are not there, and there's nothing to feel guilty about. It's important to acknowledge evil in the world, but it's equally important to understand that wherever you are in a time and place, and if you can heal yourself and give yourself time and space to heal, and that could be 1 second in the day. That isn't about winning the lottery so that I can have a heated swimming pool to give myself time and space. It's about you living in the moment and relating to the world from that moment. And when you open your heart in that moment, you are giving out compassion and love and joy. It's important to not get caught up in the panic and fear and anxiety of trauma. It's important that you don't, on the scale of your body, because those things cause inflammation. Grieving stops us breathing properly. Like the woman I met a couple of weeks ago, she was breathing into her throat. That oxygen is not going around your body. This is what happens when you grieve and when you're scared. And when oxygen and water are not in your body properly, your physical body becomes diseased. So what you think and what you feel affects your physical body. Obviously, when you go out to shoot children, pick them out with a drone and shoot them. That is evil. The energy of that needs to be countered. So I'm letting you know 2 things today. 1, that if you stop and open your heart for even 1 moment, sometimes that feels uncomfortable, right? Put a little bit of love out there and counter that energy. When you feel angry, you're grieving. When you feel angry, your ego has been upset. When you feel angry, you're scared. Sometimes when you feel angry, well, you're just bloody angry because you don't wish to be in a situation. You don't wish to be that situation. And lots of people are angry about things going on in the world right now, and quite rightly so. And if you harness that energy, not into positivity, harness that energy in the core of your body, listen to the anger, find out what it is, what it's telling you, and then breathe and look at your surroundings and look at the whole world and the world that you wish to create. Because Healing is giving time and space. Healing is what life does. Healing is what the source, universal, love, light, God, Allah. Healing is what happens naturally when you allow time and space. There are times in your life and there are things going on in the world that you cannot directly give lots of time and space to, because if you do, the anxiety and the fear and the anger take over, and then the space is filled with that, which is not helpful. It's not helpful to your body, because repressed anger causes all kinds of dis-eases, physical, on the manifestation level, and all kinds of that anger, that energy is taken up by the masses of people. It's so easy to jump on anger, anxiety, fear. I actually have a third message for you today. If you feel very sensitive, you're a very sensitive person, there's nothing wrong with you. You're just a very sensitive person, and that is amazing. And if you don't feel like going out and interacting with lots of people, there's nothing wrong with that. You may have PTSD, anxiety may be stopping you going out of the door, but actually that's what you need right now for your balance and your healing. And if any of that made sense, and you need some help and support with what you're going through, then follow the links below. Text message, book in direct, book in a call, and if I can't help you, I can probably signpost you onto the people who can, but I'm here for you, and that's my thirsty thought. No matter how ill we're feeling ourselves, if we come back into our core and back into our space, we allow things to manifest in calm stillness, and we allow healing in, and we allow peace and serenity in.